All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about the Giants' defense. Talk about that, and just I think there's some excitement around at least their defense. I just wanted to get into that, talk about Brian Burns, that defensive line, what to expect from them. And like I said earlier in the show, well, when I opened the show, yeah, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, the Giants might not be very good in 2024. But I think for me, they are heading in some sort of direction. They're heading in the right direction, I think. It's just the hardest part is going to be finding the right quarterback because they don't have it on the roster. And we'll see if Daniel Jones proves me wrong, but I just don't see it. And even if he does play well, what if he gets hurt again? So the offensive side of the ball, it's going to be frustrating to watch, and it really has been for many years. But I think this Giants defense, you got to be excited because they added Brian Burns. They signed him to that 5-year extension, $150 million. And now you're pairing him up with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Dexter Lawrence. And I think that defensive line is going to be a problem for quarterbacks this upcoming year. It's just, again, they might not score a lot of points. And, you got Kayvon Thibodeaux, led the Giants in sacks last season, 11.5 sacks, and finishing fourth in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting in 2022. Burns has never had fewer than 7.5 sacks in a season, totaling 46 in his career. And I wanted to pull up I did have his individual stats up earlier before I came on here. So for his career, like I said, 46 sacks. But yeah, 7.5 sacks his rookie season, and he was drafted the same year as Dexter Lawrence. Then he had 9 in 2020, 9 in 2021, 12.5 in 2022, and then 8 last season. So now you're adding that with Kayvon Thibodeaux and Dexter Lawrence. And for me, I'm excited because, like when it comes to the Giants defense, that was another side of the team that has been lacking, and they really haven't had a pass rush. And I know from, the articles that I was reading, they were talking about, you go back to, Strahan and, Justin Tuck and O.C. Umenyiora, and then, of course, Strahan retired, but then you had those guys still with JPP. And the Giants were looking for that. I mean, they tried to patch that up in 2016 when they got Olivier Vernon and Damon Snacks Harrison. But, that was kind of a fluky year, that whole team. They went 11-5, but it's just that was kind of unfortunately a fraudulent team because then they played the Packers in Lambeau and they lost 38-13. And that season ended with a thud. And that was Eli Manning's last playoff game, unfortunately. Couldn't see him go out he did kind of go out on a high note because Daniel Jones got hurt and he was able to at least start one more game at home and win that. But, yeah, I was kind of hoping for a better ending to Eli's career. But, again, that's in the past. But, yeah, with this Giants defense now, they're trying to build a defensive line and have success. And like I said, that's something to get excited over. You got these two pass rushers on the outside, and then you got, of course, Dexter Lawrence coming up the middle as well. And I'm looking forward to that, to see how, Burns, Thibodeaux, and Dexter Lawrence all do together. And, we'll see what they can accomplish. Again, I don't expect the Giants to do too much this year. I think this is another building block, and I think the following season, that's, you're hoping that they're going to take an even bigger step forward and be a more competitive team. Because, 2022, you thought, okay, they made the playoffs, they're ahead of schedule, and then just everything that could go wrong went wrong for them last year. And it really all started when they lost 40-0 to Dallas. And I just wanted to bring up something. So I was at another wedding recently, and again, this is more for basketball, but I was telling my friends before the Knicks played on Sunday that the last time that I went to a wedding and a New York team was playing, I sent the picture of, the scoreboard, and Cowboys winning 40-0 over Dallas or over the Giants. So I wasn't really confident about the Knicks winning, and of course I was at another wedding and another New York team lost, and that was the Knicks getting eliminated on Sunday. Other than that, it was a great time. It's just the Knicks losing was that hurt, but yeah. So we'll see what happens when I go to 2 more weddings later in the year and into next year. But yeah, just wanted to bring that up as well. But yeah, everything went wrong for the Giants after that. I mean, after they lost 40-0 to Dallas, I'm like, this team is not going to be good, and they weren't. But I think they're heading in the right direction because I still believe in the coach, kind of. Although, well, in the beginning of the year, I was like, all right, we're back to square one again with Dable. But I know it kind of hurt their draft positioning, but they did play better towards the end of the year. They were competitive against some playoff teams. They beat some playoff teams. They beat the Packers, and they should have beaten the Rams. But I feel like it's like that with the Giants every year. Oh, they should have beaten this team. They should have beaten this team. But yeah, they showed me something towards the end of the year where I do still have some confidence in Brian Dable, and I have confidence in Joe Shane. So again, it's tough right now at the quarterback position, but they're building a good defense. They are. And they made some smart moves. Bobby Okereke was a solid player for them last year, getting him from the Colts. That's another position that's been lacking in recent years for the Giants was linebacker. And they got a productive player out of Bobby Okereke. And you got young guys in the secondary. So they're building something. Now, losing Wink Martindale, yeah, that was tough. And we'll see because they got the defensive coordinator over from the Titans. We'll see how he is with these guys. But this defense is going to be good. I think if there's one thing you could look forward to, like I said, with the Giants, is their defensive line. I think their defensive line is going to be really good. And you're hoping their defense could keep you in games. Because if you can get at least some competent quarterback play, and this offense can at least, be decent, maybe the Giants can win a few more games than we imagine. But you look at their schedule. I think it's from like weeks 3 to 8. That is a brutal stretch. You got the Bengals in there. You got the Cowboys, the Eagles. I think they play the entire AFC North. So, and how many times have I talked about that division and how it's the best division in football? Yeah, I was watching the Michael Kay show, and they had the Giants. I think someone had them going. I don't know if it was Michael Kay. I think he had them going like 10-7 or 9-8. I'm like, I don't see the Giants winning. I see the Giants winning 6 or 7 games. I do not see them winning a lot of games, but we'll see what happens. And I know I didn't really go through some of the other games from the schedule. We will do that. We'll go through the other matchups, the primetime games throughout the week. I'll also start going through each team's individual schedules and kind of just do early win-loss predictions. I know because this weekend was just crazy. I just I do want to get to that. So I know I didn't do that today, but we'll get into each team's individual schedules as well. And like I said, I want to go through all the primetime matchups, talk about some of the big games coming up. Well, obviously when we get to them because we're still in May. But yeah, so we'll get into each team's individual schedules. We'll go through at least one team per show. Like I said, just kind of do like a win-loss prediction. And yeah, so that's what's coming up. And then I have one more divisional rankings tomorrow. We'll get into the AFC West, which is kind of going to be easy, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's good to be back. I'll be back again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Same time as always. And yeah, make sure to check out all the other shows on the network. Again, covered pretty much every sport, and everybody's doing a great job. So, like I said, make sure to go check out all the other shows. Give them some love as well. But yeah, that is all the time that we have for today. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.